Hello, my Astro family. This is Lada from Astrolada.com, here today with another installment of the 2020 Astrology Marathon, where I am interviewing very well established astrologers that I collaborate with. And today we're talking about Mars retrograde in 2020. The second part of the year will be mostly under the influence of Mars. So from August to the end of to the end of the year, that will be the most prominent astrological event. And to talk about Mars and lead us through the stages of Mars retrograde, shadow, pre-shadow, whatever, here is Radostina. Hello, Radi.
Hi, Lada. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me and for preparing this really important topic. She was saying, I'm a bit scared because this is one of the most important astrological periods. And indeed, we were talking that, yes, we have Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter in 2020, all like, in Capricorn and eclipses and whatnot, and Saturn, Jupiter conjunction. But the one that will be felt the most by everyone on a personal level will be Mars. We always feel Mars the most because it has very intense developments that happen fast, that require mobilizing of all our energy in certain area, in certain focus. So, Radi, you have a huge task. Lead us through that Mars period.
It is going to be crazy indeed because Mars is ruling Aries and it is going to be retrograde in Aries. And this is probably about 6 months it will stay in this sign, around 5 or 6 months. Yeah, 6 months and a week, actually, I think, because the first moment it enters Aries is in June. And then it becomes retrograde on the 10th of September, or around plus minus 1 day. And then it finishes the retrograde on the 14th of November. This is 2 months of Mars being retrograde, and it actually leaves Aries on the 6th of January 2021. So it is going to be a crazy ride. Mars is a very harsh planet. It's very antisocial, if I may say. It's planet of anger, it's planet of action, planet of even destruction, depending on how it is aspected. It can really kill, literally.
Wonderful.
It can set things on fire. It can fight. It can argue. It depends on what it rules in your chart. It depends on what kind of aspects you have. You will feel it differently, but mainly the anger will be tremendous because Mars is its own sign in Aries, and it's full of energy. And when we have a personal planet retrograding, we feel it on a very personal level, and we feel it in our everyday life. With Mars, if we haven't learned how to fight for ourselves, if we haven't learned how to deal with anger in a positive way, this is a period, while Mars is retrograding, this is a period when we will be put in situations that will require us to fight for our rights, or to fight for whatever we believe in. If we are peaceful people that don't like going into arguments or into any stressful situations, most probably while Mars is retrograde in 2020, we will have to go through stressful situations, and we will have to get into conflicts and even argue and fight and put ourselves out there and be even egoistic.
Yeah, learn to assert ourselves in healthy ways and because very few people know how to assert themselves in healthy ways. What happens is when Mars is retrograde, people start fighting. They feel like they need to assert, they need like, but they do it in such a way that hurts others. And that's where the danger is, you know.
Yes, unfortunately, many people think that when you assert yourself and when you are a little bit pushier or more direct, you're being rude. And there's a fine line with Mars. You can be actually very rude. And this is one big lesson that we'll have to learn how to assert ourselves and how to be firm but not rude, and how to say what we want and how to go and get it, um, without being destructive to others and to us as well.
There's a bit like what came to mind is also anger management. Some people
Yes,
will be going through anger management period. And
absolutely.
say who will feel this the most? It's the cardinal signs, isn't it?
It is the cardinal signs because Aries is a cardinal sign. Um, and of course, let's not forget the three big players in Capricorn that are going to be squared by Mars retrograde. And it will be, I don't know, I don't think I have enough words to explain the energy that is going to happen, and
So
that is going to
Cancer,
be.
Libra, Aries, and Capricorn. Buckle up, especially in the last people that have the last 10, 15 degrees of the cardinal sign. So from 15 to 30, that's where.
15 to 4, this is where it retrogrades. Yes, it starts from the 28th degree of Aries, but of course we have some orb, let's say 5, 6. So the cardinal signs, and whoever has planets in the cardinal signs, as you said, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer, they will feel it the most because Aries, Mars is going to square Jupiter, Mars is going to square Saturn, Mars is going to square Pluto, and this huge energy, this fiery energy, is going to try and basically go through the wall because Capricorn is a wall and there are guards there.
We have a task to break some wall with our heads. Aries is the head to butt through walls, but it's gonna give us this strength and determination and focus to do it actually. And
Yes, and
end of this period, there will be a lot of like almost like feats of achievement that you will be so proud of. You're like, I never thought I could do that. I never thought I had this strength in me. So some kind of grand work is in the makings for all of us towards the end of the year, the last 5, 6 months. That will require a lot of willpower and a lot of concentrated effort and butting through a wall, like Radi said. But the final result can be extremely, because Mars is in its own sign, can be initiating something really powerful that you have not had enough energy or courage till now in your life to do. So that's, let's say, that's the good final results for many of us. But in this process, it's gonna feel like you are training for Iron Man or something like that.
absolutely, yes. I watched your interview with Darren, and as you were saying, both, it's like giving birth. It's like the final pushes. The end of the year with this Mars, it's going to be a bloody and painful experience, but it will be worth it.
You know, in ancient astrology, Mars and Aries rules the process of birth giving, because it is painful and it requires muscles to push it out. So
Yes, and this is when you think of Mars and when you think of the energy of Aries, I always think of like a little seed that's going to sprout through the earth, and this is, I think, a process that's going to happen with this dynamic as well, because Mars is the initiation, Mars is the start, Mars is the seed, and it's going through the earth, which is Capricorn.
Beautiful comparison. Yeah.
So I think it is definitely going to be worth it to go through this process, but it will be a struggle. It will be a struggle. And also, I wanted to mention a little bit about people who are actually born with Mars retrograde, because these are people who have for some reason in the past they have been maybe warriors, or they might have been nasty. They might have been killing, they might have been using aggression instead of just concentrating their power and energy in a positive way. So when somebody's born with Mars retrograde, they're as if they're putting off the anger, and they're building it up and they're building it up, and at some point it just bursts out. And during these kind of retrogrades, people with who are born with Mars retrograde, they might feel the need and the urge to break free from their anger, from whatever they have been piling up in themselves.
Is that like a liberating process to them, or is that destructive, or depends on the person?
It depends on the person, but I think it's more of a liberating process
Because my
because
husband has Mars retrograde and in the fourth house, cuz so our garage is full of swords and stuff like that. He likes always collecting. And he's the most peaceful person. So obviously this retrograde, his retrograde Mars puts, like as you said, holding off, never using aggression. So I'm probably gonna lock those swords around the Mars.
that would be a good idea. Yes, I also have a friend who has Mars retrograde in his chart, and he's also very calm, very peaceful, very nice. And at the same time, I have been talking to him and asking him about his anger, and he also said that yes, he's he's trying not to be angry. He's trying not to go into conflicts, but at some point he bursts out of nothing after a while when he's piling it up in himself. So
It is. Yeah, it's the least amount of people in the world have retrograde Mars. All other planets, people have a lot more. Only 8% of people have retrograde Mars. So that's the least rare position to have.
that's very interesting because Mars retrogrades every 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Every 2 years, yes.
Yeah, but
26 months, something like that.
it's strange. Statistically, it's the smallest amount. So it's the planet that is least often retrograde of all. But when it is, oh my God.
Oh, also people who have their birthdays like with their solar return during Mars retrograde, for them it's a little bit tricky because their solar return chart will stay for the next year, so their Mars retrograde will be extended.
So
Unfortunately,
born from the 9th of September to the 15th of November. They're going to
yes.
have the whole year after that to their birth in 2021 with Mars retrograde. So it will be about solving some problems. And Mars is a problem solver. That's another thing that it does. So, but some problems from the past they have to sort out. But yeah, the Mars retrograde gets extended.
And also people who have their perfection year ruled by Mars, they're also going to feel it more than others. But as you said, Mars is a personal planet, and nobody can hide from Mars retrograde. People get stressed out, people get aggressive, people get angry and want to fight, and they don't know how to control themselves. So keep in mind and plan plan your visits to the anger management groups between.
Count to 7 before.
Yeah, I probably more like 100. And it's for probably for Aries will be really hard, even though because it is in Aries, it will be a conjunction. So people with planets in Aries, they will be initiating it. I mean, it won't be like Libras, who will be Mars will be opposing their sun sign or their planets there, and they'll feel like they're being attacked.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so Aries will feel like they have decided to do that, or they will do that, even though that's their state of mind anyway. They always decide what.
I like that. I don't want
They're always in control. But it won't feel like some outer force is coming to get them or making them angry. They're not going to blame anybody for that. They're just going to decide, okay, that's it, I had enough.
That's
And
like true. Actually, sometimes me as an Aries, I get most productive when I get angry. I finally go and do stuff. So you need to get angry sometimes in order to
absolutely,
make a change, because otherwise you're like,
absolutely.
so good, you know. So I
Yeah.
think it will be very productive periods for many areas.
I have my moon conjunct Mars, so I feel you. Yes, when I get angry, I'm more productive, and
Yeah.
this is really helpful. But this is a positive way of using anger. Other people just go out and fight.
Yes. No. Watch us, guys. Watch us and remind yourself what to do with
Yes,
that energy.
watch and learn.
Capricorn and Cancer, they're getting the square from Mars. What do you think they'll feel like?
I think they'll get very motivated as well. I think Libras probably will feel it the worst, even though Capricorns and Cancers, they have the planets, like they have Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto there. So the situation is definitely not easy, but it's very motivating to finally do the changes that they're wanting to do. For example, Cancers, they're a little bit, yes, they're a water cardinal sign, but they tend to stay a lot in the feelings and not do anything about it, even though they're a cardinal sign. So this push is going to make them stop crying, or while crying, doing something about it.
I've noticed Cancer has a tendency to procrastinate sometimes. Maybe
Yes,
two steps, one step forward, two backwards, but it's not going to be the case in the second
it's
part,
not going to be the case.
which is good for
Uh,
them actually, even in their career, because it's from the 10th house. They're going to
yes,
take steps to initiate something.
and Capricorns, they sometimes are too slow, or they sometimes are afraid to do whatever they have to do to get to the top that they're striving for. So this is an energy that is going to make them just um, to work nonstop and to work hard and fearless, because they will get angry as well. And they will be even angrier because of Pluto there. And that is Pluto and Mars are um, kind of, they're very similar in a way, because the the Martian anger is very outwardly. You can see it clearly. The Plutonian anger is inside, and when they get together, it just like it's like a bomb. So this is something that will help Capricorns fulfill their dreams, really, because they will be unstoppable.
So if you see people walking on the street and exploding, that's combusting, they're probably Capricorns or some other cardinal sign.
Yes, and they have it in their fourth house, the retrograde Mars. Shall we go through the
Yes,
signs?
yes, best to go through the signs.
Yeah, okay then. So Aries, of course, first sign, they're going to again prove themselves, or maybe, just maybe, if they're wise enough, they will think about their anger, and they'll feel they'll reevaluate the way they go through life, and they will reevaluate the way they act on the spur of the moment, and maybe think about what else can they do with that huge fiery feeling that they're always holding on to, and that's leading them always. So This is also because it's retrograde, we have the and we can reconsider how we act. So Aries would benefit from thinking about how they act on anger, really, and how they go through life, because it's the first house. For Taurus, it's the 12th house.
For Aries, because that's I'm partial to this sign as well. It's not, with the Aries, Mars retrograde in the sign of Aries, because it is your house. Also, watch out for your health, cuts, bruises, accidents, and things. But this is a tremendous opportunity to vitalize your body, because Mars brings energy. So some of you can bring you more mobility or desire to work out, and finally have willpower and courage and strength to follow through with working out and changing your physical body. As I said, I think a lot of Aries will do some feat that requires a lot of energy and focus, concentration. And as Radi said, don't in this process, don't just kind of walk on others, and be considerate. Remember to be considerate of others. But at the end of that journey, you can have initiated something really powerful and achieved something that requires 3 times more energy and focus and willpower than you've normally had. Sorry, go on.
Yes, it is important not to start the fight. This is something that's valid for everyone, but because while Mars is retrograde, if you start the fight, if you initiate the conflict, this is going to be this is not going to be in your favor, and you are going to probably lose the fight. So try to control yourselves, everybody, not only Aries, but everybody, no, but especially Aries, of course. And the fiery signs, really, even though with Leo and Sagittarius, they're going to have trines, which are a softer way of connecting with Mars retrograde, and it's going to be very energetic, but still there can be some destructive impulses, so they have to control themselves as well. And actually, talking about control, I think the square from the 3 Capricorn planets is going to help control this whole process. So it's good. It's not. I think it
channel it more constructively to something Capricornian, building, creating some structure.
Yes. With Taurus, we have the 12th house, which is house of dreams, house of illusions and delusions, house of subconscious, house of the subconscious. So they might not be able to sleep very well. They might have nightmares. They might have the opportunity to take out everything that's bothering them subconsciously and bring it out and review it and act on it, so they can live a better life. Because when your subconscious is ruling your life, it's not really helpful, because you can't be aware, and you cannot be in control of your life, and you cannot live your best version.
When I had Mars retrograde in my 12th house, when it was in Capricorn last year or something, I had a lot of angry dreams. That's what it was like. I was my aggression is very, I don't show it ever, invisible Mars. So I have a lot of aggression, and I dreamt where it's coming from. I was constantly fighting with my dad, or even physically trying to kill him in my dreams. So it's almost like some of you can experience that aggression, those suppressed impulses in your dreams towards the issue that you're having, towards the person or whatever that triggered it. And it might be quite healing at the end, that you've released it on the astral rather than directly at someone.
Absolutely. Last time there was Mars retrograde, I think it was in 2018.
Yeah, you had it also in the 12th. Yeah.
Yes, and I was also put in situations where I was really angry, but I managed to work on it and just to be more assertive, because I'm also very I was mm, very calm and not liking to get into conflicts or anything. And then I think the past couple of times when Mars was retrograde, I really these were the two big lessons that I had, and I started being more assertive and more aware of my power. So it
Beautiful.
is,
That's the ultimate goal of Mars, actually, rather
yes,
than stress us, to divorce us, to get us into fights. Okay. Yeah. So Taurus is the subconscious. And also I can add that the 12th house is faraway countries. So they might be having some mission or something to work on behind the scenes or in a faraway country. They might be much more active abroad or something like that, or have to fight for something abroad, or do get something done there, or on the psychological level, like Radi said, on the subconscious, like internal activity a lot.
yes. And also great time for anger management with Tauruses as well, because they look like they're super calm, but they're not.
They have Aries in the 12th. I mean, their anger was in past lifetimes and it's buried there, and they're keeping it in their subconscious.
Yes, and again, they don't have the best use of it. So now this is a time to reconsider their uh, emotions and anger and stress. Uh, right. For Gemini, it's the 11th house, house of friendships, house of groups, house of dreams, as in like wishes that you want to get to and you want to make to come true. So unfortunately there might be some problems with your friends. There might be some arguments with people that are, for example, if you're participating in some group activity or a club, or I don't know, a party even, because the 11th house has a lot to do with political parties as well. So there might be conflicts on this part of the life. But ultimately, you can also uh, restart, because Mars is starting planet. It gives you the start, and when it's retrograde, you can restart some actions towards getting to your dreams. If you had something that you really wanted and you just left it behind because you think that maybe it's not worth it, or maybe you can't handle it, or I don't know what reason, now it's a good period for you to actually work on it. And it will be hard to achieve because of the squares, but it would be a good idea not to stop this time and get to it. And then you will have the energy to do it. I mean, Gemini, they usually have a lot of energy anyway, so this time they'll have the persistence as well, because they usually get bored, but this time they have the opportunity to make their dreams come true.
It seems Gemini will go quite nicely through that Mars retrograde with this.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'll say it with every sign. If you'd like for Radi to give you a personal reading for 2020, her 2020 personal readings are 50% off. It's only $160 down from $300. She does very extensive horoscopes. So yes, I'll be saying that with every sign, Radi. So we forgot to mention it at the start. So I'll drum it in now.
Thank you. Right. And then it's Cancer, as we said, they have it in their 10th house. So on a problematic level, they might have conflicts with their fathers, bosses. They might have conflicts in their work life, basically, or in the public life, because 10th house has to do with career, with father figures, with authorities, with government. So any of these can bring some conflicts that they have to resolve. But at the same time, if you have uh, some big goal that you're chasing, or if you are, let's say, ruling a corporation or some sort, there might be some goals that you have set, and they're again hard to achieve, but at the same time you have a lot of power to do whatever is necessary, so you can achieve, and you can go through the any blockages or any um, mm, even problematic laws or documents or anything that the authority is trying to stop you with or chase you for, um, you will be able to sort out.
Yeah, yes,
Uh,
like this fighting spirit there that I'm gonna go through that and get it done. So perfect. Yeah.
yes, because the cancers, even though they're sometimes can be insecure and not acting too much on whatever they want to achieve, they have a lot of energy, and this will power them even more, so they can review their actions and go for whatever they're um, trying to achieve career-wise, mostly.
It is social status as well.
This
So
is
sometimes in extreme cases, it can indicate change in your social status, as in a sense, like divorces can happen sometimes and stuff like that. My divorce happened with Mars retrograde in the 10th. So you change your status somehow. You decide to act on something. Finally, it's time to act. You're not going to postpone anymore. But that's in very extreme cases. So.
It is, yes, and it is possible, and it's also because Mars rules. Mars is a very male power, so women uh, um, with any planets in Cancer might get more affected because they're going to. Um, they might have some conflicts with male figures.
Mm.
And the authorities, and of course their husbands or lovers, because Mars rules sex. So
Yes. And by the way, if you'd like to have a personal reading with Krasi for 2020 horoscope, 50% off till the 1st of January, down from 300 down to $160. Very expensive and in depth.
okay, then we have Leo. Leo will have their Mars retrograding in their ninth house, so they might change their philosophical views about life. They might change their plans in regards to, let's say, their higher education. They might have started studying something, and they might just decide that, okay, that's not for me, I don't like it, or I started it for the wrong reasons, now I want to do something else. So they might just change the topic of their university degree, or they might restart going back to university. So Leos are also, I think they would be fine.
Yeah, it's not so bad. It's like, okay, I don't mind changing my philosophical beliefs. They might be fighting for some of their beliefs. They might feel really hot about something they believe in. They might be called to try to fight for some ideal, something they believe in, on theoretical level, on spiritual level, on interpersonal level. So that's where it's like clash of opinions with other, let's say, experts, as they consider themselves.
Yes, and they get a little bit fanatical, so so they might really go to extremes with Mars retrograding their ninth house. Um,
Like it's the elections in the States, the second part of 2020. So Leos might be like super hot-headed about the ideologies and
yes,
what's happening there.
and they won't stop and think about it, because they will have the energy, like Mars trining their planets in Leo. So there's no stopping them or thinking that telling them that they have to be reasonable. They'll be
Oh, our president Trump is Leo ascendant. He will be he'll be fighting a lot with
yes.
other opinions. Very
yes, I don't think reasonable and Trump are things that go together. So.
I think he get very hot-headed about what he believes in.
Yes. But he might change his mind. He might actually come to agreement with people, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, if he's always this way, yeah, the retrograde period might make him become a different.
With Virgos, we have the 8th house. This is the thing that would be the most worrying about Virgos is maybe debt, and maybe if they have any unpaid taxes or loans, something might happen that let's say they might be asked to give back the money, for example, earlier than expected, or there might be some I don't know, problems when coming back, when going back, when having to do the installments or paying back some loans. So money would be something that might be worrying, especially when it comes to mortgages or something like that that they've taken from the bank. Also, inheritance they might have if they're looking for looking if they're waiting for some inheritance, there might be some problems on that level as well. They might not get what they're looking for. They might not get what they're expecting to get. And there might be arguments with their spouses as well, because this is 8th house is a house of shared resources with your husband or with your wife. So
For money.
Sorry?
For money, fighting for money.
Fighting for money, yes. Or I don't know, fighting for sex.
That's a good way. Virgo fight for sex.
Yes, or get spanked.
Oh,
Know.
yes. Do some kind of kinky, more physical, more pain, including kind
pain and fire, hot wax, things like that.
Exactly. I mean, don't go super perverted and stuff, but that's a good way to channel, to remedy the more negative influences of Mars in the 8th house. And can I also add that because the 8th house is the natural house of Mars, and 8th house is known as transformation, and Mars is like a surgical instrument, and it can make really powerful interventions when it goes retrograde in the 8th house. So for some of you, it can be Virgos, like a turnaround in like an intervention almost. They can turn around some psychological issue or trauma from the past, like almost operated with the surgical knife of Mars. And you can feel like you're a volcano under pressure as well, because there's the deep emotions and maybe even past traumas from past lifetimes or early lifetimes. But Mars is there to actually release that, to make a hole there, to wherever it's clogged, and to release those build up emotions and feelings and painful things from the past. So that's, I've often seen people can make big transformations psychologically, mentally, even physically with Mars retrograde in the 8th.
Exactly. Yes, this is the 8th house is again a very psychological part of our horoscope. So it's again a good idea to start going in therapy or restart therapy. Because Virgos are very healthy. They care about their health, physical and mental. So that would be a good time to start healing from some trauma, or start again anger management.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But also it can literally be some sort of operation. It can also be again giving birth. But things might, for example, it might be a C-section, even though normal giving birth is also very Martian thing, as we already mentioned it. So giving birth is a topic that can be opened up for Virgos.
And if you'd like a reading with Raji, offering 50% off on the 2020 horoscope. So it's from $300 to 160, and she makes them really expensive in depth. You know, people love them. Anyway.
Libras, of course, their seventh house will be attacked by Mars, because they are definitely going to feel attacked during this Mars retrograde season. They are going to fight with people. They're going to have arguments, or they'll feel like people are trying to get them angry. They're going to feel like everybody is out there to fight with them and accuse them of something, or be unfair in some way, because Libras um, tend to look for the fair attitude and for the balance and calmness of things, even though they also are very aggressive. They also have this part of them, of the coin, because of course naturally Aries is their second nature, really, and this is something that they have to learn to incorporate in their everyday life and in their attitude. Not only look for the balance and agree with everybody, but also have their own opinions. So this is a time when they can learn that, and this is going to be a hard time for them, I think, but still it will be worth it if they actually start showing their anger and showing their attitude and showing their opinion. Also, there can be some low cases, not only for Libras, but for Leos with the ninth house, because ninth house and seventh house, they are both houses of law,
Mhm.
and they might restart some lawsuits, or they might have people who are starting lawsuits against them. So be aware that this is an actual possibility. So make sure everything that you're doing and you have done is lawful. So unfortunately, there can be unfair lawsuits and unfair affairs, and there might be also conflicts uh, with doctors, with lawyers, with consultants, everybody who is on the opposite side of you is in your seventh house. So when basically everyday life can be a struggle sometimes with Mars retrograde in the seventh house. So as we already mentioned, Libras are going to feel stressed out
Mm.
during
Oh,
this period.
or maybe your partner will be super stressed out and that affects you. Your partner might be going through something, fighting for something, having some really intense project with deadlines. So they're like, oh, and because of that, you're also feeling, you know. But also, if you're working with someone in collaboration, at the end of this process, you might be able to have something really like, or maybe someone can push you into action, like someone
Yes.
can act as an engine for you to push you in a certain direction and to push you towards some goal of yours, but you're not starting it on your own. It's someone else that pushes you there.
And yeah, business partnerships are seven house affairs. So definitely, if you have started a business recently, for example, there might be some ups and downs in regards to that. But it will push through, and it will get better after the 2 months of retrograding, and it might actually, if it's just starting business after this period, if you manage to hold on to it and do the necessary adjustments, it might become very successful right after that.
Perfect, exactly. Good. Good to know. So you might be actually during the retrograde period in a preparation period of doing some business and preparing those things. And that's why it's stressful. So that can be the positive way it plays out. I wish it for you. And if you'd like a reading with Radi, she's offering almost 50% off of the 2020 horoscope. She makes them very in depth. Are they written, Radi?
I ask the clients, but lately I'm mostly doing them recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's faster. I mean, I have written horoscopes, but sometimes they take longer time, which reminds me to apologize to everybody who is waiting. There are actually 2 ladies waiting for their horoscopes. I haven't forgotten you. You will get them by the end of the week. But yeah, mostly recorded, even though I just ask the client if they want a Skype call, we can have a call, and this is how we can talk a lot more about things, and they can ask questions, because when I write it, then they don't participate much in their reading. They have to ask questions afterwards. So yeah, whatever the client wants.
Thank you. It's like we tuned in with the Libra business.
Yes,
So.
yeah, the business and the clients.
Okay.
And as I'm a Scorpio, we are going to Scorpio and the 6th house of work.
Yay! Is that what they're gonna feel, Martin?
Scorpios and the 6th house. Okay, so this might be some conflicts at work with colleagues on a very like everyday level. There might be adjustments to your routine. You might have to be very flexible in regards to your schedule. And if you're not used to that, you might get really frustrated because plans can be changing and you will be all over the place. I am very used to that, so that's not a problem for me. But usually Scorpios are very fixed. They don't like change. They are fixed water sign, so it's just mud. And it just... and they don't... Even though it's very interesting because Scorpios are a sign of transformation, and at the same time they're water fixed sign. So there is a conflict in that. They want to transform, they want to change people and things, but sometimes not so much themselves. So that's why there might be
Each other.
yes, there might be stress in the everyday work life, in the everyday life and routine. Also, 6th house is house of health. And there might be some inflammations, there might be some infestations. Mice, cockroaches, I don't know. This will be... Yes.
No, I hope. So I'm not going close to any Scorpio, right? No, but yeah, they should be careful with health overall.
Yes, and with like everyday situations that can be risky. For example, I don't know, be careful while you're chopping the tomatoes or the peppers, because Mars rules knives and fire. So be careful while you're cooking, and make sure you don't you don't get sunburned even.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah, exactly.
That's something that also don't get too frustrated with colleagues, because it's something that I don't think it will get to some positive outcome. At the end of the day, you will probably have to work with these people for longer, unless of course Scorpios decide to quit their jobs. This is also something that they can do, and actually the period is okay for quitting for stopping something. Even though when they quit, they probably will do it with a big scandal or big argument.
Burn the office and leave.
Yes.
Like in Office Space, there was this movie.
Yeah. So yeah, everyday life will be frustrating, unfortunately. And you have to be careful also with metal and fire.
And
That's
employees, if you have employees, there might be some, fights that are happening there, or reconsidering who should you keep as an employee, who should you leave. But also, it might mean that you're working on some project very intensely. So it requires all of your focus, like a lot of work, because Mars is energy. And when it's retrograde, you might have to be fixing some project or putting final touches, and might have to be burning the midnight oil, as they say, chasing some deadline or something in your work. So at the end, you might have really proven yourself with your work, So it will be an intense period, but the final result can be quite good as well.
yeah. And yeah, as you said, you might have to fire somebody. You might so you might reconsider who you work with, who you have contracts with, and also there might be people who will leave you, and you end up in a situation where you don't have people working in the office, which will be very frustrating, and you have to act very fast on the situation and be flexible again. So flexibility, I think, is something that is a theme for this period for Scorpios. But other than that, they should be okay as well, hopefully. Okay, and we have Sagittarius, the fifth house. Ooh, sexy. Lovers from the past can come back. You can be very flirty, and like you can just decide to go have fun and have many lovers, for example. You might restart some hobby of yours. Fifth house is house of hobbies. And you might, I think it's a very good energy. The fifth house is a very positive house, and Sagittarians are so positive and so full of energy as well. So I think it can be a lot of fun, even if it's Mars retrograde. I don't think there are any problematic aspects in regards to the fifth house and Sagittarians. They can, I don't know, have arguments with children.
Yeah, the kids might be becoming more rebellious and
Yes.
need more independence. So the kids might be going through some period where they have to put a lot of energy on something, overcome some challenge. So maybe that's where they can worry more about.
Yeah, but I don't think they can expect many stressful situations in regards to. They can lose some competition, because fifth house is a house of sports, house of competition, house of games. So they might be losing some games, which can make them angry. But because Mars is going to trine their planets in Sagittarius, they will be having fun, and they will feel like they can try again. So
they can use the retrograde to prepare for a competition, and when it goes direct from November 15th, that's when they can start winning.
yes, if they're into sports, it's a great time to work on their bodies, work on their strength, work on their motivation, and then go for it and go and win the competition or win whatever they're chasing after.
Good news for the Aries. I think that with the square from the second house, there might be some expenses that are coming in regards to children or hobbies, or in regards to enjoyments, or in regards to some creative project or something that you're developing, some project that is your own idea, you might have to, there might be some, because Saturn, Capricorn is your second house, where Saturn squares your fifth house from there. So if some issues come, it might be monetary connected with those seventh house.
It can be, yes. And in the worst case scenario, which I just thought of, there might be, if you have lawsuits of some sort, they might take your children, or you might be arguing about the, what is it called?
Alimony.
Yeah.
Support.
So, but this is the worst case scenario. It's just something that can also happen because it has to do with children, and
Yeah.
you might lose the joy of life of some sort.
Oh, wow.
So much for the fun and games.
It's like, duh, 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 duh. But you can also review some love affair you're having and decide to, or with your husband, if you decide that your the romance is kind of dwindling, the Mars retrograde period might be like you make a new plan how to rekindle that romance, and how to, like a soldier, consistently with energy and effort to basically address that issue and fix that romantic problem. So, and if it's not, if your partner is not interested in that, sometimes in extreme cases that can indicate a romantic breakup during the Mars retrograde period, because you're so dissatisfied with the romantic part of the relationship. But otherwise, it can be a fantastic time to basically to upgrade that relationship romantically, to think of a different plan and act on it. More sexy plan, Mars. You know.
Yes. Capricorns will have Mars retrograding in their fourth house, which is it is quite stressful because Mars, usually when Mars and the fourth house are combined, there's always some arguments at home. There's always somebody screaming and shouting and putting their foot down or something like that. And this will be something that might be happening for Capricorns. And not only that, they're having these three big planets in their sign, but also at home people will be stressing them, or they might be getting stressed because of this energy that is just overwhelming. And they might be shouting and not being rude to their closest ones. And this is usually what happens when people are overwhelmed, and they usually are acting out the worst with their closest relatives and friends. So this is no surprise for Capricorns, because it has been such a long journey for them, and it has been too much. And even though Jupiter is now in their sign, I don't think it's helping much. So it's just too much for them, and this will affect their home and family life. And they might have arguments with their mothers, or with female figures, or the caretakers. But they can also put some energy into building a home, which would be great. And they can put energy into even rearranging the place that they live in. So this is something that can be quite positive as well.
Good. There is a good outcome that can happen as well.
Yes, absolutely. Capricorns are very focused, and I think they would use all sources of energy to get to where they are going to. So it's fine. I think that they're great survivors. So it's just some extra energy for them to work with and focus towards their goals.
Perfect. I like that. And if you'd like a reading with Radi, she's offering almost 50% off her 2020 personal horoscope. You can have it with her live or recorded. So yeah, check out the link below.
Thank you.
Now it's our rising, Aquarius. Let's see.
Aquarius rising, that's us. The third house for Aquarius rising, that's brothers, sisters, cousins, people around you, people that, for example, if you are attending a course or if you are doing courses, these are places where Mars retrograde can be felt the most. You can argue with, you have a brother, right? You can have arguments and conflicts with your brother. I can have conflicts with my sister, and everybody.
Some hard period themselves. They might be struggling with something.
Yes, they might be struggling themselves with something, and this can stress us out because they're our closest siblings. Also, Aquarians can restart some learning processes. They can, for example, if somebody has started writing a book and they have left it, they might restart this process. They can restart some sort of a course or education. They can restart learning a language. They can restart anything to do with communication, writing, media, and sales as well.
Yeah, it's a commercial house. Yeah.
It's a very commercial house, yes. They can reconsider the way they speak and the way they sound, the way they get to people through their words, and through their mental activity can be very dynamic, because Mars in the third house is super fast. It's super fast and it's going to go crazy.
Can I speak even faster than that? Yeah, mental overdrive. So Aquarius have to be a bit careful because their mind can be going at the super fast and restless a bit. But it can be very good as business or to complete some project, because Mars retrograde is completing, putting final touches, editing, whether it's a website, media, like Radi said, all of those things. So for them, it kind of is going to be a bit easier, to be honest, for Aquarians.
Yeah, they'll be fine. Let me think of something really bad now.
I'm sure you can think it. Problems with cars and vehicles and accidents.
Yes, accidents. That's something that is really scaring me personally. But yeah, be careful, people. Be careful how you drive. Be careful where you go. Motorbikes, if you can just leave them in the garage for 2 months, that will be great. Bungee jumping, please don't do it. Anything extreme in regards to movements is not like, it's not good. Even driving a car is dangerous during these 2 months, so be really careful. And I think I'm not going to go in the car for 2 months. That's my plan.
Yeah. I was hoping to restart learning to drive, but maybe not in the retrograde Mars.
Plus, Saturn is going to enter Aquarius at some point, just for a little while during 2020, but still we'll start feeling it. So better not experiment during Mars retrograde.
Yeah, finish up projects, business, intellectual mind, reconnect with people from the past, to complete stuff with them, or yes.
Yeah, or restart some learning processes as well. That would be very, I mean, Aquarian placements love knowledge, so
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
something that we can actually enjoy. And
Yeah, that's why we get excited about learning new things, because Aries is our third house. We're like, so excited to learn. And if you'd like a reading of Nadi, the readings are 50% almost off till the 1st of January, and the reading is 2020 horoscope, personal horoscope for you. Uh, Live reading or recorded as you want. Pisces.
Pisces in the second house, money will be it will be
Exploding in the air.
it will be burning your pockets, Pisces. It will just be coming and going really fast. So I don't think Pisces in general are very good with money and, and like doing their budgets and everything. So keep in mind that the second house and Mars are never a good combination unless you have your own business and you are um, a leader of some sort, and this is how you make money. Even if you are in such position, your leadership might be questioned, and thus your money might not be coming as easy as usual. Uh,
You
in
might be
regards,
spending on something in the quick.
sorry,
Some people I've sometimes seen when Mars goes retrograde in the second, they have some bigger expenses because of investing in equipment, or in, say, if you're having a restaurant, you might be buying new ovens because yours are broken, fixing something there's so expensive.
oven is a very very proper.
Mars. Yeah. But yeah, there'll be sudden expenses that come that you have to be aware and prepare for that.
Yes, so I think the main issue with Pisces would be money, definitely, and expenses. As you said, some sudden big amounts of money can just have to be given, or they might have to find some money somehow. So this is something that might be very problematic in these 2 months. But also, the second house also has to do with the body and the health of the body as our resource and something that we have. And again, inflammations, operations, they might feel like they don't have so much energy, or they might have some, I don't know, um, some, there might be too much stress for them as well. So this is a time when, if possible, make sure you have plenty of rest, because you might get burned out. Scorpios as well with the sixth house. Burnout is a real disease nowadays, so
Mm.
mm,
The
be careful.
adrenals, basically, the adrenals getting bust on you. So yeah.
Yes.
Oh, something good for Pisces.
And they can restart some projects that are bringing them money, or get some, or some, if somebody owes them money, they can, this is a time when they can ask for it, and they can probably receive it back. uh, they can, as I said, they can restart some business that they used to do, and maybe it wasn't that successful, but now if they restart it, it might bring them more finances, and they can have another financial flow.
It's also, I've seen that you can reevaluate your
Can
finances.
I,
Invest more.
sorry, can I, just a second,
I
sorry.
think we're finished. Yeah, yeah, go, go. Is everything okay?
um I think my daughter is calling me, just a
Oh,
second, sorry about that.
well, I'll carry on for Pisces. So I've seen that when Mars goes retrograde in the second house, you can have to rebudget, refinance something, for example, or move from one place to another, assets as well, because you're re-examining, taking changes to correct and to fix some financial situation. And by the end of this period, so after November 2020, you might have a way better financial situation, or than I mean, you might have had it stressful because you had to do some adjustment, change something, rebudget, spend on something. But at the end, if you did it properly and wisely, you can have a more functional and improved safety net around you and financial situation, because Mars did the right. Mars is a fixer and did the right initiative steps to fix certain situations in regards to your resources. So did some really hard work, demanding a lot of focus, that after November onwards, from December 2020, will provide you for a bigger income. But maybe initially during the retrograde period, you have to do some investment or spend or something, so you can reap after that the rewards financially from December onwards. Okay, I got it for you.
Thank you so much, and sorry about that.
No, no, absolutely fine. So, any opportunity for me to talk. Mars in the third. So, thank you so much, Radi, for this in-depth, extensive look at Mars retrograde. You took the most challenging position, and you did it great honor, and you did it great job with it. So I hope, and we tried not to over scare you or underplay the importance of this transit, but I'm telling you, and Radi's opinion is that this is the most important transit, the one that will be felt the most in 2020. So
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I hope I was giving some interesting information, and I hope it was clear, because I was a little bit worried. I haven't had a talk with you for a long time, and I'm
no,
always worried when I'm going on camera. So
you should not. It was perfect. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. And guys, if you want to get in touch with Radi, check out her profile. Soon she'll come and she'll be adding a reading about pregnancy. If someone is trying to
yes,
become pregnant, Radi is
yes.
good with finding times of fertility. So that's a new reading that Radi is adding on. So for those of you trying to get there, she's your lady. Thank you, Radi. Have a wonderful 2020, and I'll check up with you on the Mars retrograde next year to see how you're doing, because your moon is getting affected, my sun, so we have to give each other support.
Thank you very much, and speak very soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.